Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Sarah Fenske. Let's go to the Bissell Mansion restaurant and murder mystery dinner theater in North St. Louis. You step inside a nearly 200-year-old house. A friendly restaurant staff will take your order and show you to the cocktail hour buffet. You'll be greeted by several professional actors getting set to put on a show. But you'll also get a name tag and be assigned a part to play yourself. This past Saturday, a number of guests had just received their acting assignments in Bissell's newest production, The Phantom of the Grand Ole Opry, when our producer Evie Hempel began talking with them. She asked about their various roles.
Would folks be willing to say who you are and who you're playing in the murder mystery? Do you want to start?
I'm Brianna Campbell in real life, and my actor is Brittany Spurs.
My name is India, and my character is Amanda Will Kill Some, because I will kill some.
I'm Tiffany, and I'm playing Brittany's mom.
I'm Dallas Truex. I'm playing Darth Brooks.
I'm Mary Hirschman, and I'm playing Martina McDide.
Before long, this dinner crowd is getting into character as Bissell Mansion actors Linda Spall and Charles Huevelman guide them through the first act. Or they try to. Some of the scenes are going a little bit awry. Linda, who at this point is playing a yet-to-be-murdered character, tries to instruct two men on their shared speaking part.
All right, you both say together. Tammy, can I please have your autograph?
Tammy, can we please have your autograph?
Yes! And then, Dory, you say, I asked first, Wayne. Like you're fighting over who gets.
I understand.
Okay.
I asked first.
No, I believe I did, Garth.
As the guests enjoy their salad, Linda slips upstairs for a costume change, as she will next be playing Dolly Pardon. This isn't her first murder mystery.
I started doing, actually, the Royal Dump Dinner Theater for many years. And that was down on the landing. And it was where King Henry VIII comes in with the wenches. And my name was Carmen Get It. Not my real name, but there, yes. So I started doing that. And then I branched off to murder mysteries and did boats and dinner trains and that kind of thing. And a lot of restaurants, dinner, theater type things. And
what keeps you doing it? What do you enjoy about it?
What do I enjoy about it? Love to make people laugh. I grew up with my dad making me watch Bob Hope, and he just would sit there and say, look what he's doing for these people, and it just really stuck.
Her colleague in comedic mayhem on this particular night, Charles, has been working at Bissell for over a decade, year-round.
Right now we have 3 males and 3 females actors on staff, so we rotate around, and it gives us a chance to still do plays at other theaters, because when we're not here one night, one of the other actors is here instead doing the same show.
And it sounds like there's quite a murder mystery theater scene in town, is that right? I mean, I know there's Lent Mansion, there's Bissell. Are there other places where this sort of activity happens frequently?
Yeah, there's one called the Dinner Detective, which used to be down on Laclede's Landing, but they've moved somewhere out to the county now. And there used to be some others, but some of them have come and gone. The Lent Mansion and the Bissell Mansion are the two that have been around the longest, and also they've had the most staying power, I guess, here in town.
As the plot of The Phantom of the Grand Ole Opry moves along through the several-course meal, the audience members/actors seem to slowly improve their performances. In fact, some of them even have singing roles. Here, they join in on the second verse of Tammy Whino's song about a divorce.
Now, ladies.
Here we go.
RDIVORC. Becomes final today. Is this good? Me and little Joey will be going away.
Hit it. Hit it.
I never
And that was from our producer, Evie Hemphill, at the Bissell Mansion in North St. Louis. And here to discuss these murders and these mysteries is actor John Vullo. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I know you're an actor, not a historian, but
Right.
hoping you can still give us a little history. What is the Bissell Mansion?
Well, the Bissell Mansion is the oldest brick residence in St. Louis. It was built in 1823 by Louis Bissell, who was a military man. He has a past of his whole family was in the military. And I think he was 19 when he started in the military, and he was sent out to the frontier. And when he came back from the frontier, he bought about 1,500 acres here in St. Louis, which became Bissell Point in North St. Louis, which was one of the prime areas to live at the time. And he had 1,500 acres there. And then when he lived there for 4 decades, and he had 2 wives. His first wife died, and then he married later. And then he died in the house, and I think he's still there sometimes. But
It's a haunted mansion?
Yeah. And but then in the 50s, the highway was coming through, and they were going to demolish the house. And some folks that lived in the area knew the history of the house, wanted to preserve it, so they formed a corporation, and they bought the Bissell Mansion. And then sometime later, they started opening some restaurants there. And eventually, someone came up with the idea, hey, why don't we do a murder mystery?
And so this has been going on for decades?
Since 1979, 1980, in that time.
More than a few decades.
Right. Yeah.
And so how long have you been acting in these shows?
I've been doing it for 21 years.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And what keeps you coming back to this?
Well, I always did theater from the time I was like 17 years old. And I went to school for theater. I actually became a theater teacher, and I taught theater for a lot of years. But performing was something I always did. And someone saw me doing Big Daddy and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, which is a very serious play, and thought that I would be funny and could do, murder mystery dinner theater. So she brought me in. Her name was Delia Schindler, and she and I are still working together today. But then someone else brought me to the Bissell. And so I've worked there for 21 years, and it just got in my blood. I love working in front of the people, and it allows me to do improv. It allows me to I write some of the shows there at the Bissell, and it's just a lot of fun.
Was that just a huge transition, though, to go from like actors who know what they're doing to just members of the public? They're in off the street.
Yeah. It was a big deal, and the other thing was to break that fourth wall for me, because a lot of actors, you don't ever talk to the audience.
And in these shows you have to.
In these shows you have to. And it takes a different kind of ability that, a lot of actors would be scared to death to do that, And but I found it something that I enjoyed doing, and I'm constantly listening for ways to get off that script,
You actually enjoy the veering off.
Yeah.
Give them a little note of improv and
give me a place to go, and we'll go there. You want to play? Let's play. And then we get back to the script if we can remember where we were when we left off.
I hope things don't get too badly off track. You still need to solve that mystery.
We need to solve that mystery. We need to get that done. But it's a fun night for everybody. And what's interesting about the Bissell is that you come there with your husband or with your party or corporation, and you're not knowing what to expect, especially if you're a first-timer. And usually the wives are dragging their husbands to go. Because
this sounds like my husband. These guys don't want to have fun with this.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to.
How do you get them past that? That sort of macho, I'm not doing this.
I tell them, look, if you don't do it, we can't have a show, because you've got lies to say. Pressure's on you. But no, if someone really doesn't want to do it, I'll find someone else to do it that night, We've never had a situation where we couldn't find people to stand up and take their parts.
So are not all diners a critical role in this? You could maybe discard some supporting parts
if
need be?
Absolutely. That's why, like in this show, that you were listening to them singing. Well, there's audience lines where it's audience participation, okay? So you're part of the show, but you don't really have to get up and necessarily do something, or you're doing it in unison with everybody else, so you don't feel that difficult. That's that difficult of a thing for you to do. But some people really want to take on those roles. It's their opportunity to shine.
Do you see that some people almost get a little too into it, and it's sit down, girl?
Yeah. Well, and then I'll tell them, okay, you're done. Sit down. That's not in the script. I don't know where you're going, but that's not in the script. Like the bleep. That wasn't in the script.
These scripts are safe for NPR, even if the performers aren't.
Absolutely, yeah. But it's always done with 2 actors, and then the rest of the parts are made up by audience members.
Okay, and you 2 actors, you have to kind of bring everyone along with you.
We're controlling the show, but you can see a show on Friday night, like with Charlie and Linda, and then the next night you're going to see Brian and Vicki Beckelman, who wrote this show. They're going to do it differently, and then Brenda Fowler and myself might come the next night, and all of us bring our own flavor to the characters, and so we do it differently. But you could see the same actors on a different night, and it's going to be a different show because what the audience brings to it.
Do you find people come back a number of times because of that element? It's fresh.
Absolutely, it's fresh, and it's different every time. And we do a show at the Bissell. We do it for a 4-month or 3-month period, depending on the show, and then we change it and we do another one, and then we do 4 shows a year.
This is actually a perfect segue to what I do wanted to ask you about. I know there's Phantom of the Grand Ole Opry. Right. Next up is Coldfinger, yes. But the next 2 are shows that you've written. Right. Class Reunions Can Be Murder.
Yes, they can.
And Murder on 24th Street. What makes for a good
34th Street?
34th Street. my bad
classic.
On that. Yes,
a Christmas classic.
A Christmas classic with some murder. What makes for a premise that works in this kind of environment?
Well, Brian and Vicki and I write the shows there at the Bissell, and we each write individually. So the way I write my shows is I usually come up with a premise, and then I'll try to fill that audience with as many people that might be involved in that as possible. So
you're looking for multiple small parts.
Yeah, right. So for Class Reunion, I've drawn from other shows that people would be familiar with, like 16 Candles and Risky Business, anything that has to do with high school, and I mean, in this one, Carrie is the prom queen, and there's a mean girl in that
this is a brilliant premise for a murder theater. There's so many great high school movies.
Right. I wrote one called Nursery Crimes, where everybody in the audience is from a different nursery tale, folk tale, and that when I play the big bad wolf and my partner plays the wicked witch, that's written in every single show, and everybody in the audience is, Little Bo Peep and, Little Red Riding Hood, and Humpty Dumpty didn't fall off the wall, he was pushed, and we got to figure it out.
You can have so much fun with this.
Really do. Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like there's an indefinite number of places you could take these things.
Absolutely. Yeah. And every one of them has a different premise. So, the show we're doing now is set in actually Branson, Missouri.
Perfect.
But it's got Grand Ole Opry people in it, so people that like country western show stars and that sort of thing.
A lot of good puns in there.
Right, a lot of good puns.
Darth Brooks, we heard.
Right, yeah. And the show's just it's a lot of fun for people. What I was saying before is people will drag their husbands there, but then they always want to come back.
Even the husbands want to come back.
And they just had a great time when I don't know, maybe they drank a little bit, and at the end of the night they're happier. But they do have a good time. Yeah.
The bar may ease things along for these actors.
Yeah. Sometimes they need that to get through their scene,
Well, this just sounds like a blast. So if people want to know more about this, the Bissell Mansion website, it sounds like all the information is going to be there.
Yeah, you can go on the Bissell website and find out the information of upcoming shows.
And you're there every Saturday?
Well, we're there. It depends. We have a schedule, of where we are, and we do other things in town. So it's when we're available,
when
sort
you
of
can.
thing. Yeah, and so usually I'm there 4 or 5 times a month at the Bissell.
So that's actor John Vullo, and you'll be able to catch him at 4 or 5 times a month at the Bissell, and also see some of the shows that he's helped to write. So, John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.